Welcome to Biblical Christian Content, where we like to keep the content biblical. Let's go.
Take me down this path, this narrow way. Help me to survive it, because I can't do this on myself. It's much like Levi when Jesus said, "Follow me." He basically looked at all of his tax collecting stuff, and he got up and he walked away from it. He wasn't making himself perfect, but you know what? He was trusting this one, that wherever he took him, he was going to follow. It was a very narrow way, very narrow. Brethren, you do recognize he's calling us to the highest life ever. Be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. That is the highest life of all. You better believe it's going to be difficult. And it's also hard because, why? It involves suffering. Did he not say in this sermon, "Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven"? Did you get that? Theirs is the kingdom of heaven. People that get persecuted, that's a hard road. Blessed are you when others revile you, persecute you, utter all manners of evil against you falsely on my account. It's also a hard path. Why? Because it's a fight of faith. You remember what he said on prayer. He said we need to not just ask, we need to keep asking. We need to not just ask, we need to seek. Not just seek, but keep seeking. We need to knock and keep knocking. He talked about fasting in here. While the world's out there and they're drinking it up and they're eating up and they're enjoying themselves and it's all about pleasure and all about how they can get God's people. God's people are supposed to be people that are desperately clinging to the Lord and pleading with Him in prayer and crying out to Him and asking Him for help and fasting and praying and giving. And this is the life. This is it. Listen, I'll say this again. He's not come to simply save you from your sin and from hell. He has come to make a people who are righteous and who live this reality out. You know what He does? He comes to slay our old man and to make us new creations. Old things passed away. That's what He's come to do. And the reality is, He's come to lead a people through a very straight gate and down a very narrow path. And you know what He says? He says those on this path are few. Few. I don't know if you've ever had this mindset that, there's many. There's many. No. You know, you see what He's saying here? This is a lonely path. The narrow road is always a lonely road. Oh, Bunyan portrayed this perfectly in Pilgrims Progress. Why? Pilgrim Christian, he took off running by himself. Yeah, he was joined for a moment, but then he was by himself again. And he found the gate by himself. And he took off from the gate by himself. And he went up the hill of difficulty by himself. And he went between the two lions by himself.
Welcome again, Biblical Christian Content. This is going to be part 1 featuring Tim Conway. It's likely going to be titled The Narrow Path or The Narrow Way, and then part 2 is going to be The Broad Way by Tim Conway also. And so like, share, comment, subscribe, sub with the notifications so you get alerted when the next one comes out. So right here, Tim is talking about the narrow way and the lonely walk of the Christian. And it's so funny that I actually was saying this to God in prayer because for me personally, you know, I lost a ton of fake friends, and much, if not close to all of my family are not born again, are not walking with the Lord. Although I was raised Catholic, some still subscribe to that, but it's very clear they live lives totally contrary to the scriptures, which I hope you guys and gals who are listening are not. I hope you are walking in step with the Lord. And that's why I put out this content, kind of just encourage you to do so, and do so and to do so in a way where you take the things of the Lord seriously, and you are not those who are on the broad way. Likely, you know, many of those who are on the broad way are deceived people. But the Christian walk can be lonely. You know, even if you belong to a church, or you have a family, or parents and relatives that are born again, God still calls you to be alone with the Lord, to make sure you have a fruitful prayer life, to go out there in the world and work and to labor, go to school. And you're not going to be surrounded by people. The likelihood of you being surrounded by people or being in a constant environment, unless you work for a church or something of that nature, you're going to be in the world around worldly people. But blessed are you if you are truly born again on this narrow way. It can be lonely. And I'm actually very grateful. I was thinking of Leonard Ravenhill because he had mentioned a quote. So I'm happy that I came across this quote from Leonard Ravenhill. He had actually said another thing that stuck with me for a long time. It was from YouTube with one of his sermon jams, but they have him as saying that, you know, the walk of a Christian is a lonely walk. And like I said, for me, most of my family, they are not born again. And thank God, over time, and this is over years' time, God has put, you know, Christian brothers and sisters in my life. And I've mentioned in other videos, we're starting a church. So, but it wasn't something that happened overnight. So don't be discouraged if your walk is a lonely one for now. You know, just stay close to the Lord. Use your time, use your free time wisely. I love to get in the Word. I love to exercise. I love to, you know, work out and you know, grow spiritually and be strong spiritually, physically, as long as the Lord permits. But Leonard Ravenhill, I found this quote of him. So he's talking about the walk of a Christian. He said, if you're going to be a true Christian, notice that, if you're going to be a true Christian, I tell you one thing amongst others, it'll be a lonely life. It's a narrow way, and it becomes narrower and narrower and narrower. That's Leonard Ravenhill. Couldn't be more true. So don't be discouraged. It's your time to be close to the Lord, and let God add onto your life that which fits his plan for your life and will. Be prayerful and mindful of the direction of your life. Don't force a relationship. Don't force a marriage. You better make sure that you're doing things in line with the Lord's will. And the Lord's will is, if you are in the Lord, you are to only be with someone in the Lord. So a little relationship advice also mixed in this. And be blessed. Don't, you know, run this back again if you need to, just to refresh your mind. And Tim Conway referenced the Pilgrims Progress. The Pilgrims Progress is a classic book by John Bunyan. And it basically it's basically a depiction in various ways, the entire walk of a Christian to being born again and leaving everything and getting to the promised land. And the actual main character, his name in the book is Christian. So if you haven't read that, that's a great classic book by John Bunyan to pick up. And they have them in the Old English, and they have modern translations also. I read the modern one. So, but stay tuned. Like I said, sub with notifications, because there's going to be a part 2, which I tackled the Broadway. So be blessed. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more content. Keep your mind on the Lord, eyes in the Word. and I will catch you on the next one. God bless.